Anderson versus Charles Martin, and I like the fight. Solid fight. Jared Anderson wins a unanimous decision. I had a 9-1 in favor of Anderson. Charles Martin had a big fifth round after being floored, I think, at the end of the third round. He caught Hurd. I mean, excuse me, he caught Anderson a couple of times in that fight. And he caught him towards the end of the fight, and he had him on wobbly legs. Just makes you think, what if this would have been a 12 round fight? At times, Anderson looked very impressive, using the jab, being fluent with his combination punching and his body punching, and going up top, landed some nice hooks. But then there were times he was overextending, lunging a little bit when you could clearly see Martin was out of reach. And then sometimes, when he was throwing punches, even landing, like dropping his hands, which could put him in a position to be countered. At the end of the day, Charles Martin took the fight on maybe 2 weeks' notice. So basically, it was hard for Anderson to basically prepare for a guy like that. That's the thing. When you are going into an 8-week training camp, you are preparing for a certain fighter in a certain style. And then basically when, the fighter that you originally planned on fighting has to pull out of the fight for whatever reasons, and then you have to bring in a replacement, and then depending on how much time you have to prepare for this dude, it can, alter your performance or your fighting style or the way you're going to fight, aka the game plan. And that's basically what happened. But at the end of the day, Anderson looked vulnerable and impressive at the same time. There's some things that you see that maybe a more experienced fighter could exploit. I can tell you this much. Had he got hit with the punches by Wilder or Fury that he got hit with by Martin, who knows what would have happened to him. And Anderson was hurt a few times in that fight, especially in the fifth round. He got clocked a couple of times. If, the thing is, with Martin is very sloppy. Where Anderson is more fluent. Martin was very sloppy. He was loading up at times. He could have, he went mailman, a lot of times in that fight. And what I mean by mailman, he was telegraphing a lot of his shots. So you could see him coming. So, as far as Anderson's overall performance, I give him a 7. I give him a 7. But to say right now that, he may be ready for some of the big guns, well, there's still a question mark surrounding that. But I think Charles Martin was a good test. As of right now, I think, this was his first 10-round fight. You should look and see what's out there for him. Who do I think he should fight? Man, I don't think they should put him in the ring with Sanchez. I don't know about him fighting somebody like Sanchez. Maybe you can get Chris Arreola to come off the couch. I might would, Effie Ajaba. That's a fight that could be easily made, but Effie Ajaba, he's still a tremendous puncher. So, you have to wonder what happens if he get hit with a shot by Effie Ajaba that Charles Martin hit him with. Because like I said, had this been a 12th round fight, who knows what would have happened. But at the end of the day, Anderson, he got the W, so now he moves on. So like I said before, I don't know what's next for him. I think him and Top Rank, I think they'll strategize and analyze what would be the next opponent for him that could make him look a little bit more impressive. But at the same time, you kind of need fights like this to basically, see where you are mentally as a boxer as well as physically. You know, at the end of the day, of course, your first, if you're a prospect, if you're somebody that they trying to rally behind, of course they're gonna put guys in front of you. Your first five, six, seven, maybe eight fights, they're gonna put guys in front of you that have a style that's suitable to your style to make you look impressive. Then they, you know what I'm saying, it's like a video game. As you, depending on how long you play the video game, the levels get harder and harder. So that's what they mean by it's levels to this. So now let's see where he is. Like I said before, for the most part, he fought an impressive fight, using the jab, throwing nice body shots, breaking them down. But like I said before, he just overextended a little bit at times. I just think the next fight, he need to go back to doing what he was doing in previous fights. You know, I think one of the things that came into play was the fact that he fought at home, and that's always a problem sometimes because when you fight at home, you want to put on that performance. You want to look extraordinary. And then sometimes you have a guy that knows a guy fighting at home, and it's like, okay, well, this dude ain't finna, um, you know, make a name off of me and basically up his value as a fighter via me. So sometimes you have those fighters that come in there and they just like, okay, I'm gonna play spoiler, or if I don't play spoiler, I'm gonna make sure he has a rough night. And Charles Martin, for the most part, he made sure that Anderson had a rough night because Anderson wasn't able to get him out of there, and he floored him. He floored him with a nice overhand. He didn't land it full thrust, because if he would have landed it full thrust, maybe he could have ended the fight. But you know, Charles Martin, he gave him that work. So now we got to see what's next for him. But anyway, that's all I got to say. It's your boy Town. I'm out.